الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتدي ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله خير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. This is our first lecture after the break that we had for 3 or 4 weeks, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who granted us the opportunity to visit His house, to give it to everyone in this masjid and to give it to everyone who desires it. We continue with the we were talking about al-hajr bil-hakim, and we spoke about al-hajr on someone for the interest of someone else. Hajr on someone for the interest of someone else. And that is when the qadi or al-hakim or the judge or the person in charge who has authority, when it's been complained to him about someone owing some people money, someone owes people money, and they complain to the judge or hakim, qadi, then it becomes mandated upon him to do hajr on the money of the person being complained about, the person in debt. And we said the people in debt are 3. Someone who's in debt and he doesn't need to, he just drags. He takes people's money and he has money to pay it off, but he doesn't feel like it. And we said the other kind is ma'doom, and that is someone who doesn't have any money. He's in debt and doesn't have any money to pay it. And we said the third person or the third type, and that is what we spoke about the last time, and we will finish with him today, and that is the muflis. We said the muflis or the bankrupt is the person whose debt is more than what he has. He owes $100,000 and all he has is $10,000, $50,000. And this is what we are talking about in this issue. And we talked about how his money, when people, the lenders, complain, or the people who he owes money to complain to the qadi or to the judge, or hakim, we said how the money is distributed. So today, inshallah, we will finish with this part. And again, we're talking about the qadi taking this action against someone for the interest of someone else. So he takes this action against the person in debt for the interest of the lenders. Okay? And the reason I'm emphasizing this point is because Ibn Qudama rahimahullah in his book Umdat al-Fiqh did not talk about the other type. That is al-hajr li-maslahati nafsi, for the interest of his own self. And we will give some example, and we will talk about that tonight, inshallah. But we will finish with al-muflis. قل مؤلف رحمه الله ابن قدامة فإن وجب له حق بشاهد فأباه يحلف لم يكن لغرمائه أن يحلفوا. This point that Ibn Qudama is making is, we said this muflis or this bankrupt person, he owes money to people they complain. So the Qadi brings the people who complained, brings the people who complain, and brings the person that they are complaining or they're filing the complaint against, and they will discuss and whatever. Now this muflis can come with the idea or say, someone owes me money, okay? Someone owes me money. And the reason he would say that, for example, is to bring more money to the table, so he can pay those people, or to bring money so other assets that he has, for example, his house, will not be part of the equation, all right? Or his business, or his car, or whatever. But there is some issue here that Ibn Qudamah rahimahullah is discussing, and he said, فَإِنْ وَجَبَ لَهُ حَقٌّ بِشَاهِدٍ فَأَبَى أَنْ يَحْلِفْ لَمْ يَكُنْ لِغُرَمَاءٍ أَنْ يَحْلِفْ. So what he's saying is, the only way we can confirm that he has money with someone, if he swears. If he swears that Ibrahim owes him $1,000, okay? But sometimes, and some people don't like to swear. Some people don't like to swear by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and don't like to take the risk. So the question becomes, or he might not be sure of the exact amount, maybe it's been for too long, or for whatever reason, okay? So what he's saying, that the Qadi or the Hakim, the judge, cannot force him to swear. Because if people complain about me, and then when they come and calculated what I have, they found it to be $10,000, but someone owes me $20,000, that is important. Because after they divide the $10,000, I'm off the hook, for example, then I go get my $20,000. So that's why they talk about this part of it. But the point is, he cannot be forced to swear. He cannot be forced, this person in debt cannot be forced to swear by the Qadi, and this issue stays out of it. Now, who would swear? Other people might be interested to swear. Maybe one of the people complaining about me knows that someone owes me. Okay? He wants his money, but he thinks, now he knows that someone owes me $10,000. If this $10,000 comes into the equation, the person who complained, who knows, can get more money, more of his money back. So in this instance, Ibn Qudamah rahimahullah says, and that is the right thing, is the ghurama have no right to swear. Or their swearing is of no significance in this issue and this matter, because it has to do with the rights of someone else. And second thing, they have interest to swear. So that's why them swearing is of no significance and does not change the fact. Okay? So in other words, the bottom line is, the person who has the money or who someone owes him money, if that's a muflis, if he chooses to swear, then he swears. But no one can force him to swear. And ghurama means the people that he owes money to have no right to say, we swear, we know that he wants money from so and so. So they ask the Qadi, can we swear? The fact is, they have no right to swear, and their swearing is of no significance in this issue because of conflict of interest. Okay, so that's very much the last point or Ibn Qudamah rahimahullah talked about when he spoke about the muflis or the bankrupt, and how money is collected from him to pay the lenders or the people he owes money. And again, we said lenders doesn't mean that they lend him money only. Lenders or people who owes him, he owes money to, can be someone he didn't pay rent, can be a car he bought and he did not finish paying, can be any of these things, okay? Or al-arsh, like jinayat. All these things are possible, and so don't get stuck with the idea of that dayn means or debt means he borrowed money and now he's paying it back. anything that, any transaction that led him to owe someone money, that can fall into this. Now the second part, and that is الحجر على الإنسان لحظ نفسه, to do hajr, and that means to have full control of someone's money. Okay? Now before, again, we talked about to have control over someone's money for the interest of others. Okay, and we gave the example. To take control of the money of the bankrupt, whatever he has left, for the interest of the lenders. Now the second type is الحجر على الشخص or على ماله لحظ نفسه, for his own interest. Okay? That means to have control over the money of someone or someone's money for his own interest. For his own interest. And there are three types of people fall into this. Okay? There are three types of people fall into this. And we mentioned them before. Who remembers?
سفيه.
السفيه. يتيم يعني الصبي.
مجنون.
مجنون. Those are the three people very much that if you are given the guardianship over them, you can prevent them from having access to their money to a certain period of time, for a certain reason, for a certain extent, because they're not qualified to spend it. And the first one is a sabi, which is the boy, a young person, boy or girl, young. And the second one is safi, is the best, or if we can translate, the naive person. And we will define what we mean when we say safi. And the third is al-majnun, crazy person. Those three kinds of people, you can take over their money if you are granted that guardianship over them. So you can prevent them having access to their money because they don't know how to handle it. Okay? And we have to understand what do we mean by, and when you can, how long you can do that. And we will talk about one by one, inshallah. The first one, or just the ayah about those people, يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى ولا تؤتوا السفهاء أموالكم التي جعل الله لكم قياما وارزقوهم فيها ويقول وابتلوا اليتامى حتى إذا بلغوا النكاح فإن آنستم منهم رشدا فادفعوا إليهم أموالهم. So in this ayat in Surah An-Nisa, the beginning of Surah An-Nisa, really talks about these three types of people that do not give them, in other words, do not give them access to their own money. For the rationale is they do not know how to handle it until they reach certain, or they meet certain criteria. And the point, remember that the reason the Sharia came to mandate such action is to preserve those people's money. To preserve those people's money. So if you are someone who's a guardian and Allah puts you to be in charge of some of those three kinds of people, money, and you think now it's your own, and that is great calamity, and that is dangerous. الذين يأكلون أموال اليتامى ظلما إنما يأكلون في بطونهم نار وسيصلون سعيرا. That is serious matter. Those who eat oppressively the money of the orphans that Allah put them in charge of, they're only eating fire. They will get to the hellfire. Okay, so very important, and we'll talk about that inshallah at the end. The point and the hikmah and the wisdom and the intention of Shari and the goal of this kind of hajr on those three types of people is to preserve their money until they are qualified or they reach a criteria or certain age that they become capable of taking care of their own money. That is when the money is returned to them. So anything that will lead to this money to decrease or diminish or be affected or be harmed, okay, is not permissible. And we'll talk about that in a little bit, inshallah. So the first type is the young person, a boy or a girl, very young age. And when we say young, صغير, when we say صغير, that means small kid, we are talking about a person who did not meet two criteria. One is puberty. That is البلوغ. Okay? And the second one, فإن آنستم منهم رشدا. Rushd. Okay? And we will talk about what that means. But those are the two criteria, the bulugh and the rushd, have to be met. This boy or this kid, boy or girl, that you are in charge of their money because they lost their parents or whatever reason is, they are not to have access to their money until they reach those two criteria, bulugh and rushd. Bulugh, puberty, can be known through different ways. Okay? There are three signs of puberty and one extra for girls, for females. If one of those is reached, then the person is considered to be at the age of puberty, or baligh, or mukallaf. And when the person in Islam reaches the age of puberty, they become responsible. That means they will be held accountable for their actions. Whatever right, whatever wrong, they will be questioned about after they reach the age of puberty. From before, there is no bad deeds against them. And the question is there good deeds for them? Inshallah, there are good deeds for them. Some of them are mumayyizin. Some of them know what they're doing. Okay? And the woman who came to the Prophet ﷺ and she had her kid with her, and she said, Ya Rasulullah, Ali hada hajj? فقال نعم ولك أجر. She had a baby, she's carrying her baby, and she said, Ya Rasulullah, in Hajj season, she said, Ya Rasulullah, will Hajj count for this, the baby, and she pointed to? He said, Sallallahu yes, and you have the reward. You will have the reward. So yes, if a person or a parents take their kid for Hajj when he's 5, 6, 3, 4, and they do Hajj, inshallah it will count as Hajj for this kid, but still the Hajj that is required and mandated by the Sharia once in a lifetime at least, he's still mandated to do it and obligated to do it when he reaches the age of puberty. Alright? Very important. So let's look at the signs of al-bulugh, okay? And how is a person considered to be baligh or reach the age of puberty? Some of those signs are agreed and by the consensus of the ulama, and some of them have different opinions, but the bottom line is it's a valid argument. Men and women, or males and females, share 3, and the woman has one of its own. So in total, 4, 3 for men and women, 3 for men or males, and 4 for females. One of those things happen, then the person is baligh. If one of those things happen, this is important for parents to pay attention to these things, because unfortunately a lot of people ask, oh, I became adult and I never prayed until I was 20 or was whatever age. Now, the parents are the ones who are responsible to teach their kids that once they reach that age, once they notice that this happened to them, they become obligated to teach them, to tell them that now you're accountable and this and that. So very important to pay, and every parent should know these things. First, إنزال المني يقظة أو منام. Ejaculation. If this happens, then the kid has reached, and by the consensus of the ulama, has reached the age of puberty. Whether it happens while he's up or while asleep. Okay? A wet dream. If this happens, then that is a sign of puberty. That means puberty. That means he's an adult, she's an adult, and and they are accountable, and laws apply to them of the Sharia. يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى وإذا بلغ الأطفال منكم الحلم فليستأذنوا كما استأذن الذين من قبلهم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says if your kids reach the age of al-hulm, al-hulm is the خروج المني, wet dream. They reach that age, then they need to ask for permission when they walk into the rooms. Okay, so that is a sign that the ulama have agreed to be a sign of puberty. If it happens and takes place, then it's a sign of puberty. يقول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم رفع القلم عن ثلاثة وذكر منهم الصبي حتى يبلغ. The Prophet ﷺ said that 3 people are not held accountable, and one of them he mentioned the sabi, the kid, until reach the age of puberty, and in one riwayah حتى يحتلم, in one riwayah until he reaches or until he has or he has a wet dream. Okay, so this is a sign of al-bulugh. The other one, and this is consensus, يعني ijma', this point. The next one, there is no ijma', but a lot of the ulama have this opinion, and that is reaching the age of 15. Reaching the age of 15 years old. So they said if the person or the kid or the girl reaches the age of 15 and none of the other signs had shown, then they are baligh. Okay, they have reached the age of puberty, even if nothing happens, even if they don't have that dream, even if the other thing, a girl doesn't have her period. If they reach the 15 and they have none of these things happen, then they are considered to be baligh, and this is different opinion amongst the ulama. Their dalil on that Ibn Umar radiyallahu anhuma has said عرضت على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يوم أحد وأنا ابن 14 فلم يجزني وعرضت عليه وأنا ابن 15 سنة فجازني. You see, this hadith of Ibn Umar, he said, in other words, the Prophet ﷺ was asked if I could participate in Uhud. Okay, and he sallallahu alayhi wasallam did not allow me, and I was 14 years old. And then he was asked that I participate in Khandaq, and he said I was 15 years old, and he allowed me. So they said that means when he was 14, he was not at the age of puberty. He was not mukallaf. So when he reached the age of 15, he became. Now the question is, someone might ask, Uhud was in the 3rd year, Badr in the 2nd year after Hijrah, Uhud in the 3rd year, and Khandaq in the 5th year. So how was he 14 in the 3rd year and 15 in the 5th year? Okay, and that can be answered 2 ways. One way is he could have been the beginning of 14 at Uhud, and at the end of 15 at Khandaq. That's 2 years. Okay, and the other way is he said 15, meaning he's 16, but he's saying 15, that means he finished 15. That is one of the ways that the Arabs speak, that he completed 15 and now he's starting 16. So when he wants to say how old he is, because he just started 16, so he's not really, did not complete 16, so he say 15. So this is one either way, but that is how you answer this. So Umar bin Abdul Aziz, rahimahullah, when he heard this story, he made it the law that to write in the law that the age of puberty is 15, and he said to all his representatives around Ma'mura. So that's the second one. The second sign, as you see, is the 15 years old. So the first was the wet dream, and the second 15 years old. Third sign, يقول العلماء نبات الشعر الخشن حول الفرج the growth of frigid or خشن يعني coarse hair, okay, around the private parts. So the growth of this coarse hair around the private part is sign of puberty. And we didn't say that the soft hair, because a lot of youngsters can have that hair. Even some babies might be born with that. So it's coarse hair, that is a sign of puberty as well. And the fourth one, which is only for the women, and that is period. She has her menstruation, then that is a sign of puberty. Once the girl has her period, it's a sign of puberty. And usually girls reach that age before boys, the age of puberty. Okay? Usually before. And depends on the area, depends on the weather and the climate. But some girls can reach the puberty at the age of 9. Okay? So very important for parents to pay attention to that. And especially the mothers when it comes to that, to their daughters, because that's the first person the girl gonna tell. So that is al-bulugh. So when you are in charge of a kid's money, because he lost his dad or he lost his parents, he's an orphan, then once the time that you give him back his money is he has to reach the age of puberty. That is the first condition. Okay? So if he meets one of those things, then he had fulfilled this criteria. But that is not enough. Okay? Because again, they can reach the age of puberty, but they have no rushd. Meaning, they're not fit. They do not know how to handle money. So the second criteria is a rushd. Okay? Is rushd is the capacity to be able to handle money. Okay? The ability to distinguish between what's right and what's wrong. The ability to deal with money. Okay? To know the difference between between 2 and 3. All these things, this can be contributed to rushd. So someone might ask, how can we test for that? How can we know? The ulama said, you test them. How can we know if this kid, yeah, he reached puberty. Now we need to know if he reached that rushd. How do we know? قال العلماء تختبر. Okay? And how do you test him? You give him money and send him to the marketplace. Send him to the grocery. Send him to buy stuff. And see if he's capable to come back with good results. That's how you tell. Okay? I remember when one of my relatives was, older lady, was excited how she was able to buy tomatoes and beat the seller. And the seller told her the pound was 18 kirsh. And she said, I only have 20. Okay? It was the pound for 18 cents, and she said, I only have 20. So she gave him 20 for the pound. And she's excited that she thinks that she beat him. She's a bargainer. Yeah? So some people like that. They just don't know the difference. And you'll be amazed. Okay? So that's how you test these people or these kids. قال الله تعالى وابتلوا اليتامى فإن آنستم منهم رشدا فابتلوا اليتامى. Test the orphans. You test them. When it's time you want to give them back their money, you test them. So if you see that they after they reach the age of puberty, they have that rushd and that ability to handle money, then you become obligated to give them their money. Majnoon, so that's for the orphan or for the kid. Majnoon, the crazy person, again, two conditions need to be met. Okay? Puberty? No, because Majnoon can be 4 years old, right? And just walking the streets of Miami, right? And you see Majnun everywhere. Guys like 60 and 70 years old. So, no, puberty has nothing to do with that. Of course, if he's crazy and a kid, then you need to wait for that age, okay? But the first thing is رجوع عقله إليه, to become sane again, okay? He's insane now. Something happened to him that he lost it, and he's not in stable condition. And there is hope that by the permission of Allah, he might gain back his mental power. Then we wait for that. And the second thing, obviously, is a rushd. Rushd, even after he gets back his mental capacity, we check, can he handle money? Okay? So that is the other thing. Safi, the naive person, or Safi, is a person who doesn't have any clue how to handle money. Okay? Maybe he was raised with a golden spoon in his mouth, right? He never touched money. And personally, I know some people like that. I know some people, for example, they grew up, never touch paper money. Always had a credit card. Someone raised like that, only on a credit card. His parents will give him a credit card, that's all he used. So such a person never cares how much money he had. Such a person would always think, or doesn't know that this card has a balance. So all he grew up, supposedly his family were rich, so all he used to do to get money or to get what he wants, slide a card, plastic card. So obviously this person, if you put $100 in his hand, he won't know how to deal with it, how to handle it. That's why you put money in his hand, the money flies away. He doesn't know. And at the same time, he doesn't have a sense of spending, what it means to spend only what I have or what I need. Okay? So such person, even if he's 30 and 35 and 40 years old, if he was raised like that, he cannot handle money, then he's not to be given access to his money. Okay? So the condition for him to be qualified to get back into his money and have access is zawal sufr, okay, or rushd. Some of the ulama put both those two in one. Okay, يزول عنه سفره أو rushd. Those two things, meaning that disappearance of that irresponsibility, okay, of how to handle money, and again is a rushd, to have the ability to handle money. So that's why some of them, as you see, they're opposite of each other. Some of them put them as one. Once this person gets rid of such irresponsibility or ignorance of handling money, then you give him back access to his money. Now someone might ask, how can you do that? Someone that doesn't know how, he grew up doing that. How do you remove that irresponsibility or that ignorance? Teach them. They can learn. Some people, if they are put under pressure, okay, no more credit cards, you don't give him a credit card, then he will be forced to learn, for example. That's just an example, okay? If he doesn't have access to whatever he wants, now he will adjust. He will learn how to act. So maybe after some time he can learn how to be responsible. So those are the three types of people and when they can have access to their money. Now, when you are in charge of their money, if you are put to be in charge and you're the guardian of their money, and in charge of them, and their money is under your control, then there are rules that you have to follow, and that just the fact you have control of their money doesn't mean you have that money, and doesn't mean that money belongs to you. Okay, you need to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's a responsibility, but we will talk about it, about certain issues. يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى ولا تقربوا مال اليتيم إلا بالتي هي أحسن. Okay, meaning do not touch the money of the orphan, and under the orphan falls the safih and falls the majnun, anyone that you're in charge of their money, anyone that you're in guardianship of their money. Allah says do not touch it إلا بالتي هي أحسن, meaning unless it's for good reason. Do not touch their money of the orphan, or the money of the orphan, unless for a valid good reason. بالتي هي أحسن, for a good reason. Okay, so we will talk about what it means to be good reason. Because some people will look at the thing itself is good, but when you decide to spend on it from the money of someone you're in charge of, it becomes haram. Okay, so very important that we understand these words. So let's just look at some examples. Is it permissible for someone, and the person who's in charge of this person's money or of the kid's money is called wali? Okay, so we'll say, just to make it easier, is it permissible for wali, meaning the person who has guardian over the money, guardianship, is he allowed to lend that money? Okay, in other words, I am in charge of an orphan, and this orphan has $5,000. I'm in charge, or I'm put as a guardian over these $5,000. Do I have, being the wali over this money, do I have the right to lend this money to someone who asks for